Hey y'all, welcome back to Andy's Little Homestead. Today we're here in the off-grid chicken house. We're putting in windows. I'm getting over a cold, so I feel like hammered dog. My wife's missing a few teeth, so we're basically your average window install crew, as it were. But I'll be honest, we're not really doing things to any kind of a code. See, windows are expensive, they require money, and I ain't got any money, so we got these windows that I brought up with me all the way from North Carolina. New windows of this size are about, I don't know, probably 350 bucks a piece, and I don't feel like spending that kind of money. I knew they were gonna be expensive when I left North Carolina to become homeless. So I took these off of a job that we did during Hurricane Florence, because they were free. And that's the price I like for building materials. The problem with that is that when we took them out, we cut off the nailing flange and kind of just did whatever we needed to do to get the windows out without much thought beyond that. But that's okay, we can still make them work. But to show you what's wrong with them, I gotta show you a new one to show you, what? But to show you what's wrong with them, I gotta show you how a new one gets put in the right way. So this is a vinyl new construction window. Windows fall into one of two categories generally when you're purchasing them. They're new construction or they're replacement. New construction windows have a nailing flange around the outside that nails up to sheathing. You know, if you're the type of person who uses that in your building. You seal behind the flange, you nail it up, you tape the stop laughing at me. You tape the outside. This is difficult. You tape the outside. You tape the outside from the bottom up so that water can't get in, and you're done. From there, it's just trim.
Hey, at least I have an excuse to not talk right.
So that's new construction. Vinyl replacement windows are installed by basically taking out the stops, the little strips that hold the individual sashes in place, and then a whole big unit gets pushed in. So when we install these reused windows, that's basically what we're gonna do. And this more or less is the end result. But today, I'm gonna show you how we got there. This is by no means the right way to install windows, but it'll probably work. I'm like 85% confident in it, and that's good enough for me. So the first step of this is we need to build a sill. What we have down here on the bottom doesn't have any kind of a slope to it, and it's not gonna shed water, and we need it to shed water. That's not a problem when you have a nailing flange that's sealed all the way around, but when you don't, you need a slope. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the most precise of cutting tools, the old Sawzall, and we're gonna cut this cripple stud off at an angle. Basically, I'm gonna go where it meets right here and go down 1/2 inch behind it. That's gonna give me about a 10-degree slope. That's what we're gonna work with. Andy, why didn't you just build a sill in place when you rough framed everything? Simple. I don't plan things very well. So that's the angle we're gonna work our slope off of. We're gonna make sure that we hit that mark when we install our sill.
Hey babe, what's this from?
Oh, that's off of the ladder jacks. OSHA says you need them, but you don't need them.
Okay.
It's fine. So now we've got to build us a sill. Lucky for me, I've got this beautiful 2x10 piece of red oak that was previously used as a ramp to get into the house, but it keeps getting shorter and shorter as I keep doing this. But I put the ladder in place for now, so we're good. So we're gonna measure and cut for this. So every one of our rough openings is right at 32 inches. But we're gonna have like basically little lips that extend beyond that on the sides to account for the 2x4 casing that we put in place. Now this is gonna act both as an exterior trim and as a stop, something that we're basically putting that window up against. Remember, we're treating it like vinyl replacement windows, so we've got to give it something to run into. So we measured the whole thing out to 38 inches. We've got 3-inch notch that's going in here, 3-inch notch that's going in here, and then our casing board, that 2x4, is going to go in by 1 inch. That's going to be our surface that the replacement window gets pushed up against, the stop basically. Hey babe, where'd you put my pencil?
I didn't touch your pencil.
I wish you would. There we go. Got a pretty good fit on it. So we went with red oak for the sill, 1 because I had it, and 2 because it's the most rot resistant wood that I had on hand. White oak would be better, I ain't got any. But regardless, we know that the sill is going to come in contact with a lot of water. Even though we're gonna paint the house, this one spot is gonna spend the most time wet compared to other parts of the siding. So we want something that's gonna be pretty rot resistant. Now we're on to the casing. Easiest way to show you what I'm gonna do is to show you what I already did. So basically we've got our 10-degree slope right here, and we're matching that with a 10-degree angle on the bottom. I am not a trim carpenter. It is not perfect. It does not matter. We ran it up to the top, but we cut it just short of where the window is gonna go. Because the top of that casing acts just the same as the casing on the side. It's a stop for the window to go into. So when we put this in place, we're going to leave it flush with the outside of the sill, which is going to give us the 1-inch overhang onto the inside that we're looking for. A lot of people have asked about why I haven't used any plywood or anything like that. And for those who are new, everything in this house has been built with lumber that I've cut myself. Nothing has come from Lowe's or Home Depot. Everything that you see standing now was trees a year ago. All right, so we got everything in place. I actually went just a little bit lower on these, and I cut a bevel into the top one here. And this was on purpose because my frame is cracked up here and I want that wood to sit just a little bit lower. So I'm giving it a spot to fit in. So we're gonna dry fit it in place, see if we need to adjust anything. I just put enough screws in there to temporarily hold it. We'll get everything adjusted and then screw it in permanently. So it fits in halfway decent. It is catching up on that underlayment up top. We'll be able to kind of trim that out and make it fit. But before I screw it in permanently, I got one spot that I want to seal that's pretty critical. So down in here, this little spot is one area that we could potentially see water come in at some point. So we want to make sure that we seal that up real good. Obviously, we're going to have vertical seams between the casing and the window that need to be caulked. We'll take care of that too. But unfortunately, just by nature of this, we end up with a small gap on the bottom of that window there. And we'll maybe put some trim in there eventually. But for right now, just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna go ahead and seal down around where the sill hits the jack stud and the back side of the casing. So now with that all sealed up, we can put the window back in place. We can shim it to get it centered up and looking good inside the frame, and then screw it in place. Now it's actually fairly surprising how few pieces of hardware are holding in vinyl replacement windows. Most of the time it's just 4 screws, and they'll come pre-drilled. These were new construction, obviously they don't, so we're going to drill that out. Then we're going to send a screw in, then we're going to put that little cap back on and we'll be good. And there we go. She's in place. She's pretty tight. She's square enough. And from here, we just follow the advice of a wise man who once said, caulk and paint, make it what it ain't. We're gonna finish it up by screwing the rest of our screws all the way around the perimeter of that casing, and she'll be good to go. It's obviously not a perfect install, but they're not perfect windows. They were free windows, and a decent install is still gonna give us years of operability. If it really comes down to it at the end of the day, I can just pull the trims and put a new replacement window in. But for now, I'm happy with it. So that's what we've been working on. I'd like to say thank you again to everybody who reached out regarding my wife and her horribly, horribly disfigured face. I appreciate all the prayers and the thoughts from everybody. It really does mean a lot to me. Unfortunately, stuff like that happens. You just gotta keep moving. As always, I hope y'all enjoyed and I hope you learned something. I love you and God bless. Hey, real quick, say San Francisco fresh sandwiches.
Screw you. Is that enough S's for you? San Francisco fresh sandwiches.